Our vision is to make Berbera regional trade hub in the Horn of Africa.
Anybody that you ask on the streets of Somaliland today would be extremely proud of what Berbera is today.
I was not a very confident person before I came here. So I want to give back to my community.
It's about creating an industry that allows people to move forward and start trading on the global markets.
This is a rich country. It only needs to be tapped. We can share with the rest of the world.
It's about making sure that tomorrow is brighter than yesterday.
Trade has always been the profession that stimulated and enriched people's life. And you will see always trade flourishes amazingly in where there is the least restrictions. Dubai really is a pioneer in new ideas. We have no agriculture, we have no minerals, but what Sheikh Mohammed had is ideas that will transform his country and Dubai and the region.
The speed of the development of infrastructure was extraordinary, and that ambition was extraordinary. I suppose we sometimes wondered if it was all going to work.
It worked. We inspired everybody. The concept of Dubai is build it and people will come.
Jebel Ali Port, the port behind us, deals with over 16 million containers on a given year. We have capacity to handle 20 million. It's that ability to offer the infrastructure to bring trade there that is quite interesting.
This concept brought new businesses we never had, opened new markets we never traded with, and the business flourished.
The country in 91, when Somaliland declared independence, didn't have a single roof standing in Hargeisa, the city of a million people. Today, what you'll see is that people have rebuilt.
We have the vision which probably every African leader has for his country, which is a peaceful, stable, prosperous country. I think we have opportunities to achieve that.
We have came a long way. We call this country a post-conflict country. And it's not easy to rebuild it. We started from ground zero, literally. Not only the buildings, but building the people.
Berbera has a history which goes back to the pharaohs, thousands of years, and has been always a trading post.
These trade corridors are ancient. People have always traded. So what's interesting is just that Berbera and the corridor is not something new.
And because it has strategic value and economic value, it leverages the position of Somaliland within the international community.
marka insha Allah waxaan rajeynayaa magaaladan inay wax leedahay ay weligeedna lahayd 300 sanadood ka hor ayay waxay lahayd magaaladan fursad ganacsiga iyo dhaqaale ee adduunka kala jaan qaadisay.
Somaliland is right at the entrance of the Red Sea that leads to the Suez Canal. From that part of the world passes 12% of the global trade, 30% of the container trade. So clearly is one of the most important places.
We committed to invest over $400 million. So our vision is to make Berbera a regional trade hub.
وسؤال فيعن وأنا أضمن لكم هذا دي بويلد هي دولة الإمارات كأيو وقرصوية هذا وهي واحدة كلية investment طبعا ودكية جلسي. تقدر كإنفراستراكشر كسميين ديتاي بريجو ديتاي دكد ديتاي ودو.
In the developing countries, there is a clear lack of physical infrastructure to allow trade to happen. First time that we sort of visited, it was something that I think my great-grandfather would have recognized. People were unloading dhows, carrying cement blocks on their back, walking up a plank from the dhow onto the wharf, covered in cement dust. They're now handling some of the biggest cranes in the world, able to handle the biggest ships in the world.
The port was a small port. There's only 600-meter quay, and the development added another 400-meter quay, so now we have 1-kilometer quay port.
It's amazing to see just how quickly our local staff pick up the skills required to operate a modern world-class port like ours. And they have seen for themselves the changes the port has made to their lives.
One of the things that we see, and it's not just Berbera or Somaliland, the governments are not familiar with making these types of investments. That process that we dealt with the Somaliland government of sitting down and saying, okay, this is our vision for the port. What's your vision? How do we deal with things such as employment? How do we get you to the path that you would like to go? And how do we make sure that the people in the communities around them benefit.
The good thing about DP World investing in both Berbera and the Free Zone is that we have become part of a larger family.
Berbera and just most developing countries, the biggest issue is about job creation. A special economic zone is about providing jobs, encouraging others to come and use that as an entering place to do business.
We shouldn't look at the economic zone in isolation. It is a part of a much broader trade ecosystem developed in Berbera. This includes the port, the economic zone, which promotes a favorable regulatory environment for its customers, and the corridor that connects Berbera to the rest of the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, for example, which serves a population of about 120 million people.
This could create thousands of new jobs, both direct and indirect, supporting local industries and connecting Somaliland to the wider region.
يهدي كل واحد رمضو يهدو ليتم جاي يهدو قولي هاي أنت وان أرجع لكن إذا المشي كرو أنت علاجين كوتشبت هوايو مرة بالله ما سمين تنوبها هنا يفسمت كده لا ينوبها هنا يلدون كنا كفايدست يوحويتها إن لا إيجو لا يفسكريه ودك لا كفايسان كانوا كفايدين.
You're seeing UK government through UK aid building a 25-kilometre ring road around the city centre.
DP World and BII have made a very significant investment in Somaliland, and I think this will demonstrate to other potential institutional investors, other foreign investors, that it is possible to invest successfully in Somaliland. Also, this will stimulate other businesses, whether this is through the special economic zone or through the trade corridor, and others will be able to follow in this pathway.
There are many companies now who already applied for the free zone to do business there. Things are changing for the better.
waxaan aad ugu qanacsanahay inay bulshada reer Somaliland ama ganacsatada reer Somaliland marka ay fahmeen investment dalka la geliyaan ku qiimaday alaabta dibadda loo doonta marka
ma sanadba sanadka ka dambeeya kor bay wuxuu si wanaagsanaa u sii kordhaa waxaan ka filayaa insha Allah bilmillah inay iyaguna sidaas oo kale dadka iyo dalkaba ula jaan qaadaan oo ay ku qanacsan yihiin dadka iyo dawladda bay ku qanacsan yihiin oo ay dhalinyaradaasi doonayaan inay kor u soo kiciyaan.
Somaliland is a beautiful country. It's a sunny country and it's a peaceful country. We have a sea, plain, mountain, agriculture, livestock. There's no excuse that somebody saying here in Somaliland there's no opportunity. We send a lot of camels to the Middle East, and we have a very organic camel. They eat outside, they eat different trees, and that's why they become healthy. The demand is very high too, and I know a lot of people coming from Europe, from Canada, and from the United States to drink fresh camel milk here in Somaliland, which is amazing. It's gonna be my dream to one day to export camel milk and camel meat overseas. Roma wasn't building it one day, so it's coming.
Every country that we go into in the developing set of markets, we have something called the GROW program.
We take these people, we give them 2 years of on-the-job training, providing them with everything they need to do their jobs. Safa joined us in the first batch of GROW.
I usually wake up at 4:30. I'm responsible of my father and my brother who lives with me. Oh, my father loves dropping me off. I believe both of my parents are actually very proud of me on what I do. I was not a very confident person in my past life before I came here. But now I've gained so much experience, I've gained so much knowledge. I know also the potential I have now. So I want to give back to my community, to the others who were not fortunate like me. Because I'm working in engineering now. My little brothers are now want to also to go to other aspects in engineering, and maybe in the future they will want to also work in DP World.
Now female employees have access to jobs they never had access to before. They want to reach the maximum in their positions.
We're also investing over $2 million to provide young female students with scholarships so they can develop the skills and knowledge to take up teaching positions in the local schools.
Education is fundamental. It's something that we need as a human. So the practical life teaches children how to be independent. In Somaliland, you can find a small percentage of female teachers, but Kabe offers the opportunity that the most of the teachers to be a females. So I would say it helps and empowers the woman. I was always want to help my country and my people, so that is why I came to teach. It brings me a joy to work with the children.
It was in 2019 when the football team and the league have signed an agreement. We have received a lot of support. Sometimes we get a training that's also helped with the young people. They have a future for themselves. They may have a chance to compete with the other young people in the other regions.
Whenever we are working on any sustainability project, we are considering the UN SDGs, like quality education, gender equality, clean water.
We've drilled 5 deep water boreholes. We've attached it to the water system within Berbera. We've increased the availability of water by 60%. You need to make sure that everybody benefits from this. Somaliland has some of the most expensive electricity in the world. You're now starting to see companies in the renewable space looking at making some serious investments about how to bring that cost down.
We partnered with the local utility company to help connect a solar plant to our Berbera port. Through this solar project, we will also ensure a just transition for the community.
If you look at the landlocked countries in Africa, huge cost of their GDP is just the cost of products to reach them. And we are doing something about that.
If you look at Ethiopia, you have a country that is 110 million plus people. It has grown faster than China. It has a young population like all of these other African countries, so the government is asking itself, how do I create jobs for these guys?
We expect a lot of the companies from Jebel Ali to expand their businesses in the Horn of Africa by using the Berbera Economic Zone as a gateway. We want Berbera to feel like home, away from home. Therefore, it was important for us to create an environment which is very similar to Jabza.
وأنا أساسك بدأ الله هينو يجوا ببليش كأيهان أو بقول لك يسلون دمين ودلورين بعراض يبل أينا للحوري إن يسكو كاي حنو أو كوبريشن يوضع شقين ريجن كي بلابنتو أول بكي.
As a country, we are very lucky to have DB World coming to Somaliland. They transformed the whole port until it became equivalent to the international standards.
When we came into Berbera, all of the transactions happening at the port were cash-based. One of the first things that we did was to change the payment mechanism so people were able to pay by their phone. The cost on the ocean freight has dropped. We think that the Somaliland economy has, on its own, saved around $80 million from that alone.
So this is more volume, generating more trade, creating more jobs.
We want the people to do the jobs they love to do. We are giving them all the tools, all the training, and they work with passion. They want to change not only themselves or their families, but also the whole community.
You have people returning home, calling friends and asking for tours of the port.
مستقبل كلا وحفليان ويسيوضيان وحوينا وينو تريان.
The whole world is looking at peace. The key for economic development, for pulling people out of poverty, stability.
Somaliland is actually involved in the business conversation today in the Horn of Africa.
We are so proud to be where we are today. As a nation, we are progressing forward.